Hi, my name is Nikita and I work as a front-end developer here at Visual Composer. Today I'm going to explain to you how to create your custom element for Visual Composer website builder. There are several benefits of creating a custom element. You're in control from designing to making your element functional. You can create your custom design and use it in a custom project. Also, you can create an add-on with multiple elements and sell it as a separate plugin, as well as you can integrate Visual Composer into your theme and add your custom elements. We're going to cover step-by-step instructions how to create a custom element, and this video will consist of two parts: requirements and actual development process. And by the end of the video, we will have a ready element that you can find in Visual Composer Hub. This tutorial is intended mostly for developers, so there are few things you need to be familiar with, like you have to know what is WordPress, you have to know what is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, in particular React framework, and JSX syntax. Also, you need to know a little bit of PHP, Webpack, and NPM, and also you have to be familiar with the command line. For editing code, you need some code editor. It can be anything, whatever you like Atom, Sublime, or anything actually you prefer. And lastly, you need a local server installed on your computer with the latest version of WordPress. At the moment of the recording of this video, the version of WordPress is 4.9.8. So that's all the requirements you need to have, and that's it. Let's start. So for this example, we're going to create a banner element which will allow a user to include several images, attach links to those images, and then display each time a random image on the page. So first of all, we're going to open our WordPress dashboard, and as you can see, I have a pre-installed Visual Composer website builder plugin. It's a free version. You can use both free and premium. So what we're going to do next, we're going to head over to Visual Composer GitHub account, and there we have a demo element example plugin. We're going to download. Alright, so we've downloaded the plugin, and now we're going to create our own custom element on top of this plugin. So again, in WordPress dashboard, we're going to head over to plugins, add new. Upload plugin. Okay, so just drop it like this, install, and activate plugin. Okay, now you see our example plugin appears here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new page with Visual Composer. So over here we will click on the add element, and as you can see, we have our example element appear in the add element panel, and you can see a little add-on tag on the preview image. Okay, so we're going to head back to the WordPress dashboard, Next, what we will do, we will open our code editor, and over there we're going to head to the plugins folder, and you can see our example plugin folder over here. So it contains several elements, and since we'll be using only one element, we will delete those two, and we'll keep only one, and we will build on top of it. So first thing, we will open our index.php file, and we're going to edit it. So we will name our plugin as banner element, and then we're going to add a description. And we will keep the author and the URIs the same. Over here we have elements to register array, which contains all the elements you want to include. Since we will be using only one element, we will keep one, and we will enter banner element. So notice how I write element in the camel case. We do this for all elements, and the name of this element is actually an element tag, which is used by the Visual Composer editor to recognize the element. So this will be our element tag. Okay, we hit save, and if we refresh the plugins page in the dashboard, you will see the name of our plugin and the description have changed. Okay, now let's edit element files and folders. So instead of text test, we're going to rename it to banner element. Again, remember, the name of the element should be in the camel case. Banner element again. We can close this one. So we'll start with a manifest.json file. This is the main file which contains the name of the element, element images, and description. So we're going to rename our element, the tag of the element, banner element camel case. Again, and over here just change the description. Okay, so also we need to specify the correct names for the preview and thumbnail images. Currently we have default ones in the public folder. So what we're going to do, we're going to just drop these. We can remove the default ones. Okay, now over here we will have the preview and the thumbnail image, as well as two default images for the element itself. We'll just close those. Okay, and just banner element thumbnail and banner element preview PNG. Okay, that's it for the manifest.json file. We can close this one. Next we have our
In the banner element folder, we have another banner element folder which contains all the source files of the element. And over here we have a public folder which contains compiled JavaScript files. We won't touch this one as it will be compiled later on. So we will open the settings.json file. This file contains all the settings of the file, of the element. So we have multiple properties. Each property is a custom setting which will be displayed in the edit form of the element. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly copy paste the new settings. So as you can see, we have several properties, and some of them have protected access, and some of them have public access. This means that the properties with protected access cannot be accessed publicly from the component.js files. So here we have our tag. As you can remember, it's in camel case. We have images attribute, which will allow us to add images, size attribute, alignment, custom class name, custom ID, the design options. Then we have this property which allows us to place our attribute in order. So it will go in the edit form images, size, alignment, ID, and class name. And then we specify the order of the sections of the edit form. So the first one will be the general section, and then we will have the design options. And the last property is metapublic.js, which will allow us to add custom JavaScript file. So that's it for this settings JSON. We can close this one. Next, we open index.js file, and I'm just going to quickly edit it. So over here, we include our component file. So we should rename it to banner element. So in this file, as you can see, we have a function that takes several arguments. Settings.json file, our component, and some of the CSS files. Okay, we added our component. Let's hit save. Then we're going to head over to our component JS file, and we will rename the class to banner element. And this class over here, actually, it extends the Visual Composer element class, which itself is a React component. So you can write React code here, and for this example, we're using ES6 syntax. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just I will copy paste all of the code, and we're quickly going to go through it. So first we import React and VC Cake. Then we're going to define a few services which are VC Cake services. You can read about them in detail in our article on how to create custom elements. So it's a pretty basic class. which have several custom methods, which will allow us to render the image in the editor and allow it to resize. I'm not going to go deeply in detail what this method does. You can actually go through the code in detail and check it out yourself in the article. What I'm going to say, the most important method is the render method, which you will be using most of the time. So it starts off by destructing this .props. It has three properties: ID, attributes, and editor. ID is the unique ID of the element. Attributes is the attributes from settings.json file, and the editor property contains an object for the drag and drop. Then we define a few classes for markup. We have a few conditions to whether or not add additional classes, like for alignment or for a custom class and for a custom ID. Then we render our images. Here we have a map method that takes all of the images the user attach and it renders them. Lastly, we define our design options, and then we apply the classes and the custom properties to our markup. So we hit save. Then we will need to edit our CSS. For this example, we will be using plain old CSS, no preprocessors, because this element is very simple. So we'll start off by editing editor.css file, and it's important to understand that this file gets loaded specifically in the editor. So if you open index.js file, you can see we include this editor.css file, and it is loaded only in the editor. So I'm also going to copy paste the styles. It's very default styles for the editor. Then we need to add CSS for the front end. So what we're going to do, we're going to include the styles.css file. Since the example element doesn't have it, we create this one. Styles.css over here. And also this element will have pretty basic styles, nothing special. We're here. So the CSS is done, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit, since we're going to randomly show only one image. For the editor, we will always display the first image, and this will happen only in the editor. And for the view page, we will have a custom JavaScript that will pick randomly one image and display it. So for this, we're going to head over to the public folder, and we're going to create a new folder which we will name JS. And in this folder, we'll create a new JavaScript file. You can name it actually anything you want, but I'm going to name it banner element.js. So this file will contain the script that will be loaded both in editor and in the view page. So what the script does, it actually picks the random image. Here we have a custom event which occurs when the editor gets loaded. So we subscribe to this event, we select all of our banners, then we remove the default styling, and then we pick a random image and we show it. So if you remember, in the settings.json file, we had a minified version of this custom file. So we will use a webpack to compile our custom JavaScript. So what we're going to do, inside this public folder, we'll create a new JavaScript file, which we will name webpack.config.js. So this will be a very small file which will contain a simple config. It will take our banner element JS as an input, and it will output a minified version of our file to the dist folder. So, alright, now that we're done with the coding, we need to build our element, and for this we will use an npm. So inside our plugins folder, we will enter plugins, and elements, and our banner element. So over here we just type npm install, and it will install all of the packages. So then we can build our element. Let's wait for the npm to finish installing. Okay, once the installation is finished, we can run npm run build, which will build our element. And as you remember, inside the banner element folder, we have a public folder which contains the compiled files over here. So, okay, something's wrong with my terminal. Okay, once again. Okay, so now it's built. The files. So now we head over to inside our banner element. There's another banner element folder, and as you remember, there's a banner element.js file which we need to also compile. So we head over to banner element /public/js. And over there we need to run a webpack command, which you can find in the article. Okay, one folder up. Okay, a small tip for you: if you don't want to run this command every time you make a change, you can add a small modifier, $watch, and it will actually watch all of the changes inside the banner element.js file. So the same goes for the main element folder. So if we head to the element folder, we can run npm run watch, and it will listen to all of the changes inside the banner element folder. So once this is done, we can head over to the WordPress dashboard. We create a new page with Visual Composer. We click Add Element, and over here you can see our banner element appeared. So we click Add Element, and you can see our element has successfully added to the page. So we have our images attribute, which allow us to add several images with links. We can set the size of the image, alignment, and other options. So let's save the page and see how it looks on the view page.
And as you can see, we have a random image shown, and each time we will refresh the page, it will show a random image each time. So there you go. It shows a different image each time we hit refresh button. So that's it for creating an element.
Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure to check out Visual Composer API for reference. Also, we have an article on how to create custom element with Visual Composer API with step-by-step instructions and code snippets. We will leave all the links in the description to this video. That's all for now. Goodbye.